If you've been stretching your hamstrings for years and you still have tightness, this video is going to change how you think about that. Let's take a look at the anatomy first. Hamstrings are a group of muscles that attach here on the ischial tuberosity and they go down to the lower leg. There are two that go to the inside and one that go to the outside. And we traditionally think of hamstrings, let me give you a visual. So we traditionally think of this group of muscles which attaches here to here as a muscle that extends the hip or bends the knee. But it has a much more important job. What this muscle does when it contracts is it actually controls the tilt of the pelvis. It moves the pelvis and provides stability. So as this muscle contracts and goes from the lower leg to the bottom of the pelvis, it pulls that pelvis into an upright position, or what we call a posterior pelvic tilt. And it does the exact opposite. When that pelvis goes forward, that muscle gets put on a stretch. So, why do the hamstrings feel tight? Well, when you stretch a muscle, it feels tight, right? So, if your body is in this anterior pelvic tilted position, like this, the pelvis goes forward. Essentially what happens is, this hamstring here gets put on a stretch as this pelvis moves forward. And so it feels tight because it's actually being stretched. The nerve endings in that muscle tell us that there's too much tension on that muscle. And it's not able to do its proper job of pulling that pelvis back into an upright position. So, what do you think stretching does to that? Well, stretching actually can make the problem worse, because this muscle that's already being placed on a stretch, as we stretch it more, it's being put at more of a mechanical disadvantage, and it's going to actually feel tighter because it's less able to do its job, and this is going to make the entire problem worse. So from a postural restoration perspective, we address this a little bit differently. We try and restore balance between the hamstrings and glutes and abdominal muscles and the hip flexors and the low back, so we get this pelvis more into a neutral position. And I'm going to show you a better alternative to do that right now. So this exercise we're going to use is called the 90-90 hip lift. And what it does is it facilitates or turns on the abdominal muscles and the hamstrings to put that hamstring in a less stretched position, in a more normal position. Or another way to look at it, it takes and puts the pelvis in a neutral position. It takes it out of an anterior pelvic tilt. So let's see how to do that right now. You're going to need a wall that you can put your feet on, ideally with shoes on. You want to position yourself so your hips and knees are bent at a 90-degree angle. In this position, you're going to inhale through your nose, and as you exhale through your mouth, perform a posterior pelvic tilt, flattening your back into the mat. As I do this, my knees will also go toward the ceiling. Watch now. Inhale, exhale, knees toward the ceiling. As my back flattens and my knees go up, I make sure to pull down with my feet so I can feel these hamstrings really turn on. In this position, I'm going to take 4 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. After each exhale, I'm pausing for a couple seconds to keep my abdominal muscles and hamstrings on a little bit longer. Just like this. After that 4th breath, you want to relax, and then you're going to repeat this exercise 3 to 4 more times for 4 breaths. So the 90-90 hip lift is not going to feel like a hamstring stretch, and that's the point. We're actually turning on and facilitating the hamstrings like we talked about. When we turn that muscle on, it pulls that pelvis back into a neutral position and takes the stretch off of that hamstring, actually fixing the problem instead of making it worse. So repeat this exercise daily for 1 to 2 weeks, and after that time, you should start to experience a good difference in that hamstring tightness. If at that point you don't experience a good change, that means you need to give us a call. That's exactly what we do. We're here to find out the root cause behind why your muscles are tight and painful and address that problem. So please reach out anytime. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video so others can benefit from it. See you in the next video.